So the very first day I told you that a sequence goes on forever. So it has infinitely many numbers, because you can add 2 forever, you can multiply by 5 forever. So with a series, you're wanting to find the sum of a certain number of those terms. So maybe we want the sum of the first 20 terms or something like that. And so you might want to do that in a problem, like there's a problem that talks about seats in a theater. So it says there are 20 seats in the first row, 2 more seats in each row after that. How many total seats would be in the theater? So problems like that are when you want to find the sum, because you want the total of a certain number of terms of the sequence. So to find the sum, we use a formula that says S of n equals. And it is n times a1 plus an over 2. I'm going to show you something real quick. Hold on. So on the final exam, you get a formula sheet, and this is what is on there. So if you look, it gives you the recursive formula for arithmetic. It also gives you the recursive formula for geometric. And then there is our sum formula that we just wrote. It writes it n over 2 times the parentheses. I wrote it with the parentheses and over 2. It doesn't matter. Either way, you get the same answer. But that's what those are. So you don't have to memorize this formula. It will be on the exam for you. But here it is. So the S of n stands for the sum of n terms. So if we want the sum of the first 12 terms, we would do S sub 12. So it's the sum of however many terms. And then n, a1 and an, that's the same ones that we've been working with. So remember, n is the number of terms. A1 is which term? Yeah, the first one, good. And then an is the last term that we want. So like in these, if we want the first 12 terms, an is the 12th term. So it's like the last term that we're looking for. So in order to find the sum, we need those 3 things. We need n, a1, and an. Okay. So let's do some. So let's say we want to find the sum. Okay. So the first one gives us 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus etc. to 27. So in order to find the sum, we need our 3 things. We need a1, we need an, and we need n. Well, what is a1? 5. What's an? 27. But do I know which term that 27 is? No. So I don't know if it's the 18th term or if it's the 7th term. I don't know. So we have to find that n value. So to do that, we have to use our explicit formula. Now, if you know all three of the things, a1, an, and n, from the beginning, you just plug them in and you're done. You only have to use the explicit formula if you're missing one of those things. So now we plug in what we know. We've got an is 27. a1 is 5. What's happening each time? What's our common difference? Good. We're adding 2. And we don't know n. That's what we need to find. And then we just solve it out. So we can distribute this 2, which gives us 5 plus 2n minus 2. Then we can combine like terms. So we get 2n, and 5 minus 2 is 3. And then if we solve it out, what does n equal? Good, 12. So that tells me that 27 is the 12th term. Any question on that? So now we want to find the sum of these 12 terms. So we want s of 12. And then we just plug it in. So 12 times a1 plus an, so 5 plus 27 divided by 2. And then you can just type it in your calculator just like that. You can type it as a fraction or not, it don't matter. And hopefully you get 192. Questions? Hopefully not too terrible. Maybe. Alright, so I got another one. Let's say it gives us 13, 20, 27, etc. And we want to find the sum of the first 30 terms. So we need our three things. We need a1, an, and n. So what's our a1? 13. What's our an? We don't know. What's our n though? 30. Good. So in this one, we have to find an. Again, we can do that with our explicit formula. So we're looking for the 30th term. We know our a1 is 13 plus, what's our common difference? What's happening? Good, we're adding 7. And we said that n was 30. Minus 1, sorry, forgot my 1. So what is that 30th term? Good. 216. Very good. So that's our an. Now we have everything that we need, so we just plug it in the formula. So S sub 30 equals 30 times 13 plus 216 over 2. And then again, you can just type it in your calculator. And what do you get? Nobody knows? Good. 3,435. Any questions on that? You might not get that. Alright, so look at this one. So sometimes you're not given the sequence. Sometimes you can be given some other information. So let's say in this one, we are given our explicit formula. So AN equals 5 plus 3N. And we want to find S sub 15. Okay. So we still need our three things, A1, AN, and N. Do I know my A1? Do I know AN? Do I know N? Yeah, 15. So we know N. How can I find A1 and AN? Yeah, so we use our explicit formula right here, and we just plug in. We plug in 1 to get A1, plug in 15 to get our 15th term. So A1 equals 5 plus 3 times 1. So our first term is 8. Good. And then A sub N, well, our N is 15, so we want A sub 15. So 5 plus 3 times 15. Good, 50. And that's our AN, and now we have everything that we need. So we want the sum of the first 15 terms, so we do 15, 8 plus 50 over 2. And what do we get? Get 430. Questions? Let's do one more. So sometimes you might not be given anything except for a little sentence. So this one says we want to find the sum of the first 50 multiples of 4. What's a multiple of 4? 4 is 1. What's the next one? 8. And then, good, 12, 16, good, etc. So when you multiply 4 times 1, you get 4. 4 times 2, you get 8. So those are your multiples. Good. So we want the first 50. Now, could I list out the first 50 and then add them all together? Sure, but do I want to do that? So we can find our 3 things and just use our formula. So what's our A1? Good. We don't know the 50th term, but we do know that we want the sum of the first 50, so that's our N. So then to find that 50th term, we plug in. So we know our explicit formula, our first term is 4 plus, what are we adding each time? Our N is 50 minus 1. So our 50th term is 200. And then that's everything we need, so we plug it in. So the sum of the first 50 terms is 50 times 4 plus 200 over 2. Very good. So 5100. So if it doesn't give you a sequence, use your information to write your own, and then you can find what you're missing, do what you gotta do. Any questions on any of this?